Welcome to another edition of the live Pittsburgh Sports Line in the BPTV studios. Thanks for watching us, folks, on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and the surrounding area, all the way from Nemacolin to Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between. We appreciate it. On Facebook, we've been fluctuating. We got 6,855 likes. We've been up to as high as 6,861. So thanks for watching and liking our page on Facebook. We appreciate that. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. I got Chip Hayner with me, Smoking Jim Frazier, and we all want to say Happy New Year for our first show of 2019. Smoking Jim, it's 2019. I know you're a little behind on your calendar, but it is 2019.
The brothers was talking about Hanukkah. What's that? Is that something too?
Smoking Jim, for all our Jewish friends and stuff, that was around Christmas time.
Okay.
That's a holiday. You have to read it's biblical. We can check that out later after the show. But we got a lot of sports for you tonight. And I have some promos that I'd like to put out there. First one, I'd like to do this. I don't know if you got to correct the camera or anything here. Oh, one more thing. Go back on me 1 second, Steve. I got a special announcement. Haircut by Marianne at Azazu today. Got me fit in there at 10:30. Well, she was late, so I went and got peanuts for Smoking Jim Frazier and got my hair cut. Thanks, Azazu. It's a great place down on 5th Avenue. And my first cut of 2019 just for you. Look at that. She said, now you can look good in public again. So I'm thankful. All right, the promo is Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 412-831-1900. They sponsor our show with an XL pizza and a steak hoagie. It's very good. Give them a call. They're at Hillcrest Shopping Center, so if you pass by, they're right near Brewster's there in the middle of Hillcrest Shopping Center, 412-831-1900. We have a 501c3 that we promote. This is Joey Fabus. He didn't make it to his 9th birthday. He was diagnosed with a brain cancer, DIPG. He died 4 years ago. His family has raised over $100,000 with their different events. They have a basketball event coming up, I think this week, with Jonna Burke, who's one of their volunteer board members. She's also the head girls basketball coach, and they've had a pretty successful run the last couple years. Check out their basketball games. They'll be raising money for Stay Joey Strong, and it all goes to find the DIPG cure. Another 501c3 is right here in Bethel Park Historical Society. They're on 2600 South Park Road. You can't miss them. Even my friend here, Joel and Brad, if they come up South Park Road, you see a big old-fashioned trolley right there, a red trolley. It's right on the property. They've spent over $600,000 refurbishing the place. You can rent it. There's even a coffee shop there now, so check it out. And I have a show coming up. Jessica Lee's going to be doing a Valentine's Day jazz and blues show with hors d'oeuvres, so come on out on February 14th, Valentine's Day. That's coming there at the Historical Society Arts and History Center. Dave Cable likes to have a little fun at my expense. I don't mind that. He put my face on Uncle Sam. Tell them Uncle Al sent you to BPTV, 412-831-3304. You could be a volunteer like we got Steve. He was Rookie of the Year last year, but he's been here over a year, so now he's just a regular helper here and volunteer like all of us. So that's what's going on. I want you for BPTV. You can help us out with camera work, sound, even go on location when we're in different locations and film, and plus work the cameras and soundboard here, which he's doing a great job. Look how great we look and sound. Last but not least, another 501c3, Bethel Park Community Foundation. They have money for you, from $100 to $5,000 for your group and organization. Welcome aboard, Zach. You're getting a close-up on this. All right, thanks, buddy. That Zach Taylor just come in and have a cut of pizza, buddy.
Little V!
You can get a hold of them at bpcf.org. Check it out. And we also have a sponsor for What's on Your Mind, and that's a coming segment that we have. You can call Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station. It's 724-348-4715. And try not to get Zach in the camera here. He's doing good. He's hiding and eating. Enjoy that pizza from Olive Oil's Pizzeria. All right, we're going to start this show with What's on Your Mind, Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Coming at you.
you got to see Levine. Hey, I think I gave you the wrong holiday. I think it's Kwanzaa.
I don't understand you.
Okay, Kwanzaa. I think the brothers celebrate Kwanzaa. That's what I've been hearing in the hood. But anyhow, I've got to say a shout out to my man Julian Brandt this here, Rookie of the Year, and my favorite Gateway Gator, Zach Taylor's in the house. But hey, let me get right to it. The media must think Antonio Brown is from Hazelwood because Hazelwood is always up to no good. Hey, listen, I'm hearing that the Pittsburgh Steelers need to fire the defensive coordinator, the linebacker coach, the special teams coach, the offensive coordinator. Listen, Coach Mike Tomlin's a friend of mine. And it's time for the Pittsburgh Steelers to fire all their coaches, including Mike Tomlin, and hire Mike McCarthy. And I say that to say this. Lou Holtz told me one time. Lou Holtz said when he got the job at Notre Dame, he inherited an outstanding quarterback by the name of Steve Berline. In Steve Berline's junior year, he threw 17 interceptions. So Lou Holtz sits down his senior quarterback and says, I have some good news for you. You won't throw 7 interceptions as a senior. So Steve Berline got real excited. He says, why is it
They'll be sitting on the bench.
Is it the new coordinator? Is it the new receivers? Is it the new coaching staff? Lou Holtz said, no. Once you throw 6, you ain't playing no more. And listen.
Very good.
Look, Big Ben is too carefree, Chip, with the football. And Mike McCarthy is a quarterback guru. You know what I mean? Listen, Mike McCarthy coached Brett Favre, who reminds me a lot of Big Ben.
Little disclaimer. Brett Favre threw so many interceptions, it's unbelievable. Look at the record books.
That's true.
Okay.
And
Carry on.
Also, Mike McCarthy coached and developed Aaron Rodgers, who reminds me a lot of Mason Rudolph, the Pittsburgh Steelers rookie quarterback. So here's a question for everybody that's watching out there that want to hit me on Facebook or one of us on Facebook. Do you think Coach Mike Tomlin can develop Mason Rudolph or Joshua Dobbs? And listen, before you answer, Coach Mike Tomlin has never developed a quarterback ever since he's been here, a backup quarterback.
Well, why don't you say what your opinion is?
So that's my opinion. That was a rhetorical question. I learned that. I learned in big words. Kwanzaa and rhetorical questions, 2 things I learned.
Hold it, I'll get my dictionary out for you.
There you go. So this is.
I don't pull it out all the time.
I want to read.
I got this from Lois Brenner.
Is that your Funkin' Wagon?
This is my Funkin' Wagnalls. The dictionary's out. Give me a word.
Is Kwanzaa in there?
Kwanzaa's not in there.
Okay. So
this is from 1909.
So this is the question as I wind up. If you don't dump Coach Mike Tomlin, in 2 years, you won't be reloading, you'll be rebuilding. And finally, to get to Antonio Brown. And I know Chipper wants to
What took you so
chip
long?
in on
Well,
it.
believe me, I've got
I
finish
know
what
that.
you've got to say.
Here we go. In 1969, what's the first thing Chuck Noll did? The first thing Chuck
Joe
Noll
Green.
did was, before Joe Green, was he got rid of Roy Jefferson, in my opinion, the most talented wide receiver in Pittsburgh Steelers history. In 1992, what's the first thing that Bill Cowher did? First thing Bill Cowher did is he sat down Barry Foster, and after talking to Barry
go through his
Foster,
trunk?
He was able to inspire him and motivate him. Barry Foster went out and ran for 1,697 yards and the NFL record 12 100-yard games. You hired Mike McCarthy. The second thing Bill Cowher did was he cut Huey Richardson, a first-round draft choice. So now, finally, Mike McCarthy comes in. If he sits down and talks to Antonio Brown, maybe hearing a different voice, the same message from a different voice, will help Antonio Brown. If not, you can trade him. But either way, it's time to bring in Mike McCarthy. If not, the Pittsburgh Steelers will finish last in their division over the next several years. And that's what's on my mind.
Thank you, Smoking Jim Frazier. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Well, I figure we're going to start the new year off on the right foot. And Jim and I, if we've done nothing over the last 8 years, we've butted heads. And this year, it's going to be more of the same. But first, I want to wish everybody a happy new year. I hope everybody's holiday season, whatever you celebrate, was a joyous one. And I hope everybody a healthy and a prosperous new year. Okay? Secondly, 46 days. 46 days. Pitchers and catchers report to spring training. Pirates are in minicamp right now. A lot of good things going on down in Bradenton. And I'm excited. Next, to speak to some of Jim's comments, I say that the thought of firing Mike Tomlin and replacing it with Mike McCarthy is foolish at best and borders on being asinine. And here is the reason why I say this. Mike McCarthy does not walk on water. He is not the greatest coach in the history of the NFL. He has coached one Hall of Fame quarterback, and will you agree with me that Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in pro football right now?
I disagree.
Okay. Well, arguably, the experts say that Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in football. And the number of championships that he has won in the last 8 years with the best quarterback in football is 0. So, here is a man who failed as a head coach in Green Bay in one of the most storied franchises with one of the most stacked rosters available, and he somehow has seen fit to come up miserably short. Now, Mike Tomlin does have his shortcomings, and before I get into Mike Tomlin, let's go back to Bill Cowher. What was the first thing that Bill Cowher did in 1992 when he took over for Chuck Noll? He won with Chuck Noll's players. Heard that one before, Jim? No. So I just wanted to make sure that we made clear that if we're going to accuse one coach of winning with somebody previous as players, it's what's fair is fair. Secondly, changes need to be made for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I know I've asked Jim this question over the last course of the football season, and I asked him, and I said, looking at the Steelers' defense, do you think that's a schematic problem that they have, or is it that they just don't have the right players to fit into the scheme?
I think he answered yes to both.
And he actually said the defensive scheme is not what the problem is. It's the players that are trying to play it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that tells me that maybe not Keith Butler may not be a viable candidate to be fired. Getting rid of Joey Porter was an absolute must because Joey Porter, as great of a Steeler linebacker as he was for a short period of time, he didn't produce any all-pro linebackers whatsoever. T.J. Watt has got a lot of promise. He has outperformed my expectations for his first 2 years. But as far as any other linebackers, the linebacking core was one of the glaring weaknesses of the Steelers' defense. So I totally agree with he needed to be fired, and maybe he stayed a little longer than he should have because he was Mike Tomlin's friend. That could be, okay? Next up,
4 years. What the?
We brought in somebody who was a defensive coordinator for Joe Paterno, who was a miserable failure at UCLA as a defensive coordinator. And we brought him in to coach our defensive backs. And I did not see a great increase in the quality of our defensive backs. And I think the two things on our defense that were the most glaring weaknesses were the defensive backs and the linebackers. The defensive line coach, his job's safe. I would keep him around. The defensive line, I think, performed very
but
well
using
this year.
some of your logic, what about the lack of talent back there?
Well, here's the thing. If
How do you coach them up when they're
well,
too slow or too small?
if you got a first-round draft pick that played his way off the field. Now, you can fault the people. you
Hence, too slow and too small.
so whatever that is, so whatever
Too slow,
kind
too
of
small.
improvement he was supposed to make to the defense, he didn't make. I would be, keeping him, I would consider questionable. I don't know about why you would fire the running backs coach. I think he became a scapegoat. So changes need to be made. Now, we get to this point as what were the causes of the Steelers' demise this year? And some people can say they want to point the finger at Mike Tomlin. Yes, I think he has to accept part of the blame. He's the man in charge. A lot of people say the whole Le'Veon Bell situation and the way that was handled. And yes, that was a mitigating factor. I would have to agree. Some people could say Antonio Brown and in his attitude or his drama that surrounds him, that could be the problem. But here's what my thoughts are. I think a bigger part of the problem with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year was the guy who claims that he's the leader of the team, but he's a leader in voice only, and that's Ben Roethlisberger. I think he was a big part of the problem. I think he needs to focus his energies on playing quarterback and helping the Steelers win football games. He needs to do away with the radio show that he does, because all he does is he creates animosity amongst his teammates because he throws every single one of them under the bus every chance he gets. And that right there, when he does that, he loses the locker room. And if you don't have the players respecting you in the locker room, they're not going to put out for you in the field. And this whole thing with Antonio Brown, I'm not going to make any comments about it or any judgments, because one thing that has been proven to me beyond any reasonable doubt, nobody knows what the story is.
Thank you.
Nobody has
Thank
talked
you.
to Antonio
Thank
Brown.
you.
Nobody has talked to Ben Roethlisberger. Nobody has talked to Mike Tomlin. Everybody is assuming that Antonio Brown is the problem. I'm not so sure that he is.
Nailed it.
Okay, so before we become judge, jury, and executioner and run Antonio Brown out of Pittsburgh, we need to figure out what the problem was, get everybody in a room together, and as grown men, work this out, because I don't believe Antonio Brown's going anywhere, nor should he. That's what's on my mind.
Can I say one thing, Al Levine, the talking machine, before you go? I'm
Yes.
glad Chip agreed with me that the Steelers need a quarterback guru and Mike McCarthy to help Big Ben out. Thank you.
No.
You made my argument. Thank you.
When did we hear that?
I don't think
I
Mike
read
McCarthy's
between the lines.
I don't think
Just
Mike
as-
McCarthy is the answer. And
just
just
as
because he's from Greenfield doesn't make him a viable candidate to coach the
He's
Pittsburgh
Irish.
Steelers.
He's Irish.
It doesn't
They
matter.
Make good coaches.
It
Just
doesn't
as
matter.
another
Make
disclaimer
good
here,
coaches.
Big Ben has never really been known as a leader on the Steelers from when he first started here.
Hey.
He was here with a great defensive team, had one of the worst ratings ever in a Super Bowl as a quarterback.
Hey, let me tell you something about Ben Roethlisberger. If he was a leader, I wouldn't follow him out of a burning building.
Well, here's my point. If I want a quarterback on my team when he's not throwing interceptions, I want him out there as long as he's not throwing that high ball and interceptions like he did this year. This year wasn't his top year. He did set a record and everything else because he had his
Here's a
coordinator
question
there.
for you. There's been 2 NFL head coaching positions of the 8 that are available that have been filled already. Is that correct?
2.
Yeah.
don't
The
know.
Arizona Cardinals took
got that?
Klingon.
Oh,
Kingsbury.
Kingsbury.
Texas Tech?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we're going to talk about that a little later on. He got hired, and then Matt LaFleur, the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, is now the offensive guru for Aaron Rodgers in Green
Wow.
Bay. Okay?
Surprising.
So if Mike McCarthy is such a hot commodity, why wasn't he the first coach hired?
Well, all I can say is John Gruden won a Super Bowl at Tampa Bay. And
He certainly isn't going to win
sometimes
one with the Raiders.
I think this team is Super Bowl ready, and I don't think Mike Tomlin can take them there with all the problems. But
Well,
it's
Those
proven.
are your
time will
opinions.
tell.
It's
Time will
proven.
tell.
Just like you've never been a fan of Keith Butler and said he shouldn't be running anything. You've said that, and you were quiet about that tonight, but I understand that. You had other things to do here. We'll talk Steelers in the last segment, so
Yep,
that'll be our
absolutely.
last segment. We'll talk about some Steelers there, but sometimes these guys get a little crazy and miss
Hey,
stuff. What's on my mind here, what's on my mind is
We're buddies.
all I could hear was Alabama's going to win this thing. It's all about Alabama. Then I saw Clemson win with a true freshman, Trevor Lawrence, who was so cool and calm. It's unbelievable
He's
that you
18
see
years
him.
old.
Yeah, he's a true freshman. He's throwing to another true freshman. They went out and kicked some butt with Alabama. It was amazing. And you got to take your hats off to Clemson and Dabo for what he did with that team. 2 championships in 3 years. And he
And
exposed
against
the Alabama
Alabama.
defense. Yeah.
He's won his titles against
Right.
Alabama.
And these are the top 2 teams that I thought in the country.
No
top
question.
2 teams
question.
again. I was happy to watch the game, and I was shocked by the score. I'm like, wow, they're not coming back. And that Trevor, what a quarterback he is, cool, calm, and collected. Just did a heck of a
Do you know how
job.
much money I lost on that game?
Well, here, folks, Smoking Jim's a known gambler. When he gives you gambling picks, go the opposite. I've taught young Zach Taylor here. He's made a fortune because he's not allowed to bet, but on paper, he made $1 million during the football season knowing Smoking Jim, because every week he'd give me a high five. I did the opposite of Smoking Jim. So if you're going to bet, don't start. If you're going to truly bet, do the opposite.
When I go on the Rivers, they
Who
don't
do you
even
like
let me-
this week?
They don't even let me wait in line. They just come on, let him through.
Is that with your free coffee?
Yeah.
My
Ooh,
goodness.
I took a beating.
But that's what's on my mind was championship football. It was worth watching it to see the 2 best teams and to see Clemson take it to them. We'll see what happens for this next year now. Go Clemson. And we'll be back with some fiction and fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac. Hi, Bethel Park. Uncle Al speaking. I'm asking you to come help us behind the scenes at BP TV. We're looking for some proud Bethel Park residents to help us make the shows that you want to watch. For more information, contact Station Director Dave Cable, and we will see you behind the cameras at BP TV.
One of the things we do at BPTV is encourage our producers to film on location. Not only does shooting on location give our producers the opportunity to take advantage of their subject matter, filming in different locations gives each program its own distinct flavor. This also helps anyone who's flipping through the channels avoid confusion when they turn on BPTV. With around 500 programs produced at BPTV each year, the last thing we want people to think is that we're only broadcasting one program. So, you need to come into BPTV to pitch your TV show. But in terms of where you actually end up taping your show, the sky's the limit.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and Chip Hayner. And Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac. And Al Levine, the Talking Machine, kind of stole my thunder a little bit. is Clemson blowing out Alabama.
Whoa.
Just might be one of the biggest upsets in college football history.
Nah.
One of the biggest in college football history.
In your mind?
And that's it.
Appalachian State beating Michigan.
Well, for a national championship
Okay.
game, I'm sorry.
You got to clarify.
I had
Thank
to
you.
clarify that. I'm sorry about that. I'm
Very
still-
good. Thanks, Zach.
And you got to go back. Maybe the 1976 Rose Bowl was a bigger
I don't remember
upset. It was Dick Vermeil, UCLA team, knocking off Woody Hayes' #1 and undefeated
No, I
Ohio State
remember
team,
that.
23-10. The second biggest upset might have been Joe Paterno's first national championship team.
Todd Blackledge.
with Todd Blackledge, who used to play quarterback for the Steelers. How about
He's
Kenny?
an announcer nowadays.
Announcer. Kenny Jackson was the wide receivers coach before Mike Mularkey backstabbed him in the back. How about Greg Garrity from North Allegheny? How about Greg Cattuso
Yeah.
from Seton LaSalle? How about Dave Ofar from South Allegheny? How about Danny Biondi and Joel Coles on that team? And they went to high school near Monroeville. But the biggest upset of all time, in my opinion, was Joe Paterno's second national championship team. They beat the Miami Hurricanes that had Michael Irving. They had Jerome Brown and Heisman Trophy winner Vinny Testaverde, and Joe Paterno and them end up going in there winning 14-10. They took advantage of Vinny Testaverde being colorblind, and they went ahead and upset
5
them.
interceptions. He's put.
Five interceptions, and
Yeah.
they found out afterwards he was colorblind.
Well, no, they found out after the end of his career that he was that way his whole career. There was one thing consistent about him.
And that's the fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks for digging deep, Smoking Jim. We appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to my trivia segment. First off, touching off the new year, want to give a congratulatory shout out to former Steeler strong safety Troy Polamalu for being elected into the College Football Hall of Fame. I know one day he will have that gold jacket that he will not buy. And he will get elected into the Canton, but not yet. But congratulations, Troy. A lot of great things.
Need
But
more Polynesian players in there.
what I'm going to discuss tonight in my trivia segment, and I watched all 4 NFL games this past weekend, and one of the things that I was so joyed to see was defenses in the NFL are alive and kicking. And defense really won the day. I didn't see a single game with a basketball score. And so I saw 4 games that were really a joy to watch. The unfortunate Chicago Bears, oh boy, what a way to lose that game. But hey, that's why they play 60 minutes. You got to play every play. So
Foles has the magic.
what I decided to touch on this evening, and I think Jim will get a kick out of this one, is the 10 greatest defenses in NFL history.
Wow.
Okay, which I'm sure will differ from the
Top 25.
the top 25 that Jim's going to start with 10Q and then work his way backwards. But, okay, there are great NFL defenses that have spanned several seasons, including the Doomsday Defense and the Steel Curtain. And there have been defenses that have gone above and beyond for single games. However, in determining top defenses of all time, it is best to go by individual seasons. In compiling this ranking, one most factor in both statistics and postseason play. With these in mind, here are the 10 best defenses in NFL history. We will start with number 10. The 2015 Denver Broncos. The Broncos defense delivered time and time again as they won Super Bowl 11. They won 11 games by 7 points or fewer on the way to Super Bowl championship. The top-ranked defense in the league during the regular season. This unit saved its best for last. In 3 playoff games, the Broncos allowed just 4 offensive touchdowns while forcing 7 turnovers, picking up 14 sacks. League MVP, crybaby Cam Newton, and the rest of the Panthers offense found out just how good Von Miller was.
Yeah.
Number 9, the 1991 Philadelphia Eagles. Having lost quarterback Randall Cunningham to a knee injury for the season in Week 1, the Eagles defense banded together, led the league in both passing and rushing yards allowed. They lost to the Cowboys late in the season, prevented this team from making the playoffs. Tragically, defensive tackle Jerome Brown died in a car accident in the offseason, and the defense was never the same. 2008, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Whoa.
Dick LeBeau's finest defense led the league in yards and points at just 13.9 per game. A 99-yard interception return for a touchdown by James Harrison in Super Bowl 43 proved the difference in the Steelers' victory over Arizona. And this is one that's not talked about very often, but number 7 on the list would be none other than the only undefeated champion in NFL in the Super Bowl era. The 1972 Miami Dolphins, no-name defense.
They should be higher.
They led the league in points and yards allowed. This unit was the foundation of the only perfect season in the Super Bowl era. Number 6, Jim will like this one, going all the way back to one of Vince Lombardi's teams, 1962 Green Bay Packers.
Wow.
Vince Lombardi's greatest defense featured 5 eventual Hall of Famers and held opposing quarterbacks to a 43.5 passer rating. The 267-point differential, that is 19.1 points per game, between their Packers and their opponents is the best of any team from the 60s. Number 5. Somebody that we know was a defensive backs coach on this team would be the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In addition to dominating opponents, the 2002 Buccaneers were always a threat to take interceptions to the house. They did so 3 times in their Super Bowl win over the Oakland Raiders. Number 4, in recent history, the Legion of Boom, the 2013 Seattle Seahawks. They led the league in points, yards, and turnovers. And of course, this defense completely shut down Peyton Manning, who was having the best season of his career, and Denver's record-setting offense in Super Bowl 48. Number 3, which, when you read this, this should be the greatest defense of all time, but unfortunately it's not. Facing an unbelievable number of injuries, the 1976 Pittsburgh Steelers, the 76 Steel Curtains picked up the slack. The defense pitched 5 shutouts and at one point did not give up a touchdown for 22 straight quarters. If the team had not lost to Oakland in the AFC Championship game, this defense may have topped the list.
Wow.
5 shutouts. I can tell you what, the top 2 defenses here were great defenses. They didn't have 5 shutouts. Number 2 on the list, 2000 Baltimore Ravens. Ravens may be the worst team offensively to ever win a Super Bowl. Why did they win? Because they allowed an average of 9.4 points in 16 regular season games and 4 playoff games. That's how you win a
Won't you read
championship.
the small print? Ray Lewis, the greatest football player that ever lived.
Didn't say that.
Okay, you cut it
And the
off.
number 1 defense of all time. And this just goes to show you that having, the 1976 Pittsburgh Steelers, you can have a great regular season, but if you don't hang a championship at the end of it, what does it mean? I love you, Jim.
I love you back, bro.
Number 1, the 1985 Chicago Bears. The success of this team is almost mythical. The 85 Bears led the league in yards, points, first down, turnovers, en route to a 15-1 season. In the playoffs, they shut out both the Giants and the Rams and did not allow a touchdown for 11 quarters. They finished things off with a 46-10 dismantling, 123 yards total allowed, 7 sacks, 6 takeaways of the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 20. So there you go. Top 10 defenses of all time.
Let me ask you one question.
Whether you agree or disagree,
Let me ask you one question. How many players have died on that 85 Bears team? There's a lot. So that tells me maybe steroids was involved in there. Or deer. What's
you know,
that stuff that Ray Lewis was on, that deer antler stuff?
yeah, the deer antler, who knows? It's hard to say because back then they were not testing. I know you were going to like that one.
I like
You want to
it.
add to it. He'll add something to that.
Yeah, he'll add 8 more to his top 10.
All right, enough questions. Thanks, Chip. Appreciate that.
He will join Bruce Arians.
On location.
That's
Well,
3
we've
now.
been on hiatus from Olive Oil's Pizzeria. We'll be back February 11th at Olive Oil's Pizzeria. That's 930 Brookline Boulevard. Got a couple guests that you might recognize the names. One of them's the son of Bruno Sammartino. Daryl Sammartino is going to be on the show. And a KDKA guy, Larry Richards, supposed to be on our show. And the CMU head coach of baseball, Claudio Rosano. And I'm working on a couple other guests, so we should have a nice night of sports talk for our debut again at Olive Oil's Pizzeria,
This is on,
February 11th. Second Monday of the month there,
I thought the 11th was Friday.
None.
Today's the 8th.
not in February.
Oh, February.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in January. My bad.
Matter of fact, Chip, as a little correction, Friday is the 11th of January.
I know what month I'm in.
You're 100% correct.
I know what month I'm in.
No argument there, but
The year goes fast enough as it is. I don't want to think about
that's,
February.
That's what
until
we're
then.
going on, and we're going to have a possible show. Joel Percheski of One World Blue introduced me to Brad Setting, who owns an entertainment company, and we just got notification that we're going to be doing a show in March at the Sheraton. They didn't give me the date, so I don't know the date at this point in time, but that will come out. So stay tuned with that, and we'll see what other things are coming up in the future. And we'll be talking some Steelers probably for the last week, even though this is the first week of the new year for us when we come back from commercial. Chief, have your dessert. Don't change that dial. Any of the rest of you, Debbie, if you're watching the show, thanks for finding us tonight.
Hey, it's Christine from Bethel Park Library. I want to tell you about a great fundraiser we have going on. You can take home a print of this cute sloth painted by local artist Maria Prasic, was inspired by Vivian, the sloth that lives at the National Aviary. The original painting will be housed at the Bethel Park Library forevermore, but you can own a 16 by 20 print for $50. You can purchase it at the Bethel Park Public Library or through the library's website at bethelparklibrary.org.
Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
right?
All right, we got a lot of drama going on here in the studio, and
Never.
there's always some drama with the Steelers. You hear all these rumors about them trading Antonio Brown. Why trade him? What are you going to get for him? What's the point of it? Who's going to accept a $17 million contract and pay for it the next 2 years? That's one of the other issues you have. How many draft picks are you going to get? Number 1, number 2, what are you going to get?
Here's what.
So, I mean,
I will give you 21 million reasons why the Steelers are not going to trade Antonio Brown.
that's the
Okay?
cap space.
That's the cap hit that they'll take next year if he isn't here. And there's no way that the Steelers are going to handcuff themselves like that, especially considering the fact that they're getting the $14.5 million that they had set aside for Le'Veon Bell this past year. So they actually have a chance if they spend their money wisely and draft intelligently. They could repair what's wrong with the defense. Free agent acquisition or something like that would be a big help, because the Steelers, regardless, they need inside linebacking help. Vince Williams is a nice piece, but he isn't somebody you build around. And, T.J. Watt has been tearing it up on the outside. And
Best linebacker in Steeler history, in my opinion. But let me
Right.
ask you guys a question. Why did the Pittsburgh Steelers fire their running back coach? I thought the running backs did pretty good.
Yeah,
Well-
31st in the league.
31st in the league was their
That's why.
their running.
The running back went to the Pro Bowl, Connors.
Bottom
Right.
line is, we're ranked 31st in the league. Can I repeat that again for you?
Well, your run coordinator is Mike Munchak, but if they don't run the
No,
football,
he's a lineman.
he's the offensive line coach and the run coordinator.
Oh, really?
So if you're not running the football, you can't blame the running back coach.
Okay, so why don't we talk about the person who believes that they're the offensive coordinator that wears number 7?
Yeah.
Okay, he decides. I heard this about the separation between Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. That Mike McCarthy would call a play and Aaron Rodgers would specifically run a different play. Okay, so you've got the inmates basically, leading the asylum.
Well, 5,000 yards, he earned it.
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
Bend
with
earned it,
5,000
baby.
yards. But you know what? I mean, he didn't make the playoffs. So, just passing for 5,000 yards to me means absolutely nothing. Because what did it get you? It got you some nice statistics.
Here's what I worry about is a statistic, interceptions.
There you go.
Well, here's where everybody's missing a boat, and that was
Which
on,
boat?
And I was on KDK radio, and all the brothers wanted to run me out of there because I said you got to fire Coach Tomlin.
With good reason.
Well, listen, you may have 2 years left for outstanding seasons with Big Ben. After that, you're either going to be reloading or rebuilding. And Coach Mike Tomlin's strength is not offense or the quarterback. You got Mason Rudolph. Who's going to develop him? Dawes looked like he never played a down the quarterback in his life when he got in. That's on the head coach. They have nobody there.
Except when he threw that 22-yard pass.
That was good. But after that, and before that, he looked horrible. So you have to bring in a quarterback guru like Mike McCarthy, who's Irish, and the Irish got the best coaches.
Well, you know what? See, and my disagreement with that is he failed in Green Bay.
He won a Super Bowl.
So
he
here's
beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, how many years ago?
We'll talk Coach Tomlin.
8 or 9 years
yeah, he
ago.
beat Coach
So
Tomlin.
this is what I don't understand about the NFL, and I'm glad you brought this up. Why do we keep on recycling people that have failed in one place after another? Look at Bruce Arians, okay?
Greatest coach. Genius.
He failed as a head coach in Arizona.
Two-time NFL head coach of the year.
Here,
How
Chip,
many championships did he win?
Chip, let me explain this to you. It's called a good old boys network.
But no,
They like the people that are in for this team, that team,
Wait,
and
but
the other,
listen,
and they recycle them.
the guy that
No,
just
that's
got
why.
hired as the Arizona Cardinals
that's why.
head coach. What is his name?
Kingsbury.
Kingsbury.
Yeah.
Kingsbury. Okay, here is a guy that got fired from Texas Tech this season. Okay, then he took an offensive coordinator's position with USC.
yeah.
Okay, for a couple of months, and now you think he's the solution to your problems in Arizona.
that's right.
When
I agree with that.
why do we do this? Why do we take one coach from one
But
organization
you're comparing
and
apples.
switch it?
You comparing apples and oranges. Mike McCarthy got 135 victories. You
What's
know
he
how
done-
hard that is in the NFL.
What has he done lately?
What has he done?
Here's what he did lately. He took a team with the best quarterback in football and got fired.
Well, because the quarterback's not listening to him, just like the team's not listening to Mike Tomlin. I guarantee you, if you bring in a new general, Mike McCarthy, number one, listen, here's the problem with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll make it real quick. They're not giving Coach Mike Tomlin a budget for the assistant coaches. Most of his assistant coaches look like interns. Mike McCarthy will come in with better assistant coaches because he can negotiate that when they hire him. He'll bring in, trust me, Big Ben won't be acting up because he'll be developing Mason Rudolph, and in 2 years, Mason Rudolph be ready to
One
start.
thing you keep overlooking, though, okay?
No, I ain't gonna
Look at
that.
you think Mike Munchak, you don't think he is about probably the best assistant coach in the NFL right now?
Yes.
Okay, well,
That's-
somebody named Tomlin hired him.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll
Okay,
give
and,
you that.
and I mean, so I totally disagree. I don't think Mike.
That's
Mike,
one.
I-
Can you
Mike-
name
no,
anybody else on that staff
I
that's
do
any
not
good?
think Mike McCarthy is the answer to our problems. I think the problems that the Steelers have, they can fix. That's my belief.
You're prejudiced against guys from Greenfield. That's all it is. You never liked guys from Greenfield. It's like me with Clareton.
See, but the thing is, if he would have grew up down the hill in Hazelwood, he'd have been good. Should have lived closer to the river.
Hazelwood is always.
I don't believe
Sorry,
McCarthy.
folks, they're getting crazy here.
But no,
It's the
seriously,
first show of the new year. They're reacclimating their opinions.
Problems with the Steelers this year were many, and to try to point the finger and say it's one person's fault, they're
Here's one of the things you haven't talked about. There used to be great leaders
in
in
the
the
locker room.
Steeler teams. We don't have that anymore.
We know, and when Mike
coaches
Tomlin took over
What?
control of the Steelers, there was a lot of veterans, and that
Well, Jerome Bettis had made comments before when they asked how he handles things. He goes, I handle it before it goes to Cower, so it doesn't go to Cower. Now, what kind of guy on the team is telling you that today?
too many eyes.
Right.
Everybody's worried about marketing their brand, going on
All the
Facebook
social media.
Live, getting on social
Twitter.
media. Like one of the things that really kind of showed you how much the Steelers locker room, there was no leadership in it, when it was determined that Lev Bell was not going to play. And they went over and they raided his
yeah,
locker.
I agree with
and,
that.
And they recorded
with
that. That is so disrespectful.
I agree.
Regardless of what Lev Bell's done, if it's a business decision or whatever, that was his property.
Yeah.
They had no business
Well,
putting their hands on that. And that's
agree with
just
that. Here's
a
what-
complete
here's
lack
what
of
I
respect
even
for
noticed.
everything about it.
They threw Le'Veon Bell under the bus,
Yeah.
talked bad about him, and he wasn't even getting paid for the whole year.
Yeah.
They didn't do that to Antonio,
Yeah.
who, when do you ever hear of a starting star player not show up
He had a
to
bad
play?
knee. Had a bad knee.
Well,
He admitted he didn't.
but here's the thing.
When do you ever hear that?
And the way that Antonio Brown, and I think that whole Antonio Brown situation was handled poorly by
Well, it
by
goes without saying,
by
both
the
sides,
quarterback, by the wide receiver, and by the coaching staff. But the one thing I do admire about the way Mike Tomlin handled that situation was Antonio Brown cut off communication with everybody. Okay, and then his agent calls the coach Sunday morning and said he's ready to go. I would have had no respect. If Tomlin would have played him that final game, I would be the first person on the bandwagon screaming for him to get fired.
Well, let me ask you this: is Coach Mike Tomlin part of the problem?
Well,
And that's a yes. Now let me just say this: Coach Mike Tomlin won a Super Bowl with Bill Cowher players. Maybe Mike McCarthy can win a Super Bowl with Mike Tomlin players.
You know what? That comment that Tomlin only won with Cowher's players, I've never heard a bigger load of
It's the
crap
truth.
in my life.
It's
It
the
is
truth.
not. It is not. You're
It's
never
so
going to get
true.
me to believe that.
It's so true.
That is.
Last year, Cower was here.
I'll get
8-8 was
I'll
the
get
team.
censored if I say exactly what I think. So I'm
Thanks,
just not going to
Chip.
say anything.
Well, we've killed the Steelers. May they rest in peace. We'll see what they come up
Next.
with Yeah.
What about the Pittsburgh Penguins? They were on an 8-game winning streak.
Second place.
They're in second
They were
place.
out of the playoffs,
playing
and
the
they made
Florida
it to
Panthers
second
right
place.
now, and
Did they catch Ovi?
No.
they're
yet,
2
not
points
yet.
behind Washington right
I
now.
was just
If
wondering.
Washington loses tonight, we win. We're tied for first place with them.
That's what could happen. But
big
yeah,
if.
quite the turnaround with the Penguins, with the different players, the different
Well,
scoring.
I'm telling you where the turnaround came. Matt Murray is healthy, and he was been 7 and
Inda
0.
Smith has played a good.
He's been 7 and 0
goal.
in his last 7 starts.
Right.
And that's the difference in Pittsburgh Penguins right now. Why don't they just tell people in the beginning of the season, hey, look, you know, he was bad.
Good
He was
point.
bad, but he was hurt.
Good point.
Okay, there's a reason why he was bad.
Plus,
and
he
of
got
course,
concussed.
of course, the players want to play. That's all they know. They know that I want to be out on the ice. I want to play. I want to be with my teammates. And at some point, somebody has to protect them from themselves and let them get healed up. He's healed up, and Pittsburgh's up 2-0 right now on the Florida Panthers.
Let's hope they can hold this. Let's hope they can do it.
Got my fingers.
No,
Matt
thank-
Murray's in the net. He'll have another shutout.
That would
I
be
do
good.
60-40 with Matt Murray until March.
Yeah,
him
absolutely,
healthy.
because you don't want to burn him out, and because
Smoking
he
Jim,
has
you're a true expert now.
he has a history of injuries.
Yes, sir.
You know, so yeah, you need if we're going to
I
make a
just
run
want him in
to
the playoffs.
Yeah,
He's money there.
But that all being said, in the NHL this year, thinking about the teams that have the potential, that actually have a team that's capable of winning the Stanley Cup, I can think of 6 or 7 teams
Yeah, they're
that are in the running.
Washington.
Washington would be one.
Repeat.
Tampa Bay. Now, listening to some experts talk this afternoon, they believe that the Penguins can beat the Capitals in a 7-game series. The question is, they don't think the Penguins are capable of beating Tampa Bay in a 7-game series, based on their team. Then you've got Nashville still in the mix.
Sure.
Winnipeg is one of the top teams in the league.
I heard that too.
You know, well, we beat them. We
When
shut
did
them
you
out
even
on
hear
Saturday night.
hockey? You don't even know, buddy. He's just okey doking it. Forget it. Let's talk about something Smoking Jim knows. I got this message to come down to Moundsville, West Virginia State Penitentiary for fights, 12 fights. Texted my man. He goes, where the heck is Moundsville? So it said about an hour and 8 minutes away. Took us about an hour and a half because we had a problem. For some reason, you know how gloomy it's been this winter. We've got a little taste of winter, but it's been chilly. But there was sun on Saturday. Chip, this was unbelievable. He picks me up in my house, and we're getting ready to go on 79, and he's weaving all over the road. He goes, Taco Machine, have you ever seen the sun out like this? I go, my whole life it's been out like this at certain times. What's your point? Put your visor down and look. He did. He swerved some more. I go, my man, just pull over. He goes, no, we got to go. I go, well, please drive safe. The sun, he goes, you know we're going west. I go, I know, right into the sun.
Who's that? Is that Jim?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Let me just give you a quick synopsis of Jim Frazier driving anywhere. You ever see the Mr. Magoo cartoon? Roadhog.
Well, he's over one lane. He's over the other lane. We made it there safe. We get to the state penitentiary. It's closed. Now it has boxing in there.
I thought he was starting to sweat a little bit.
No, he goes, you see those gun turrets up there? He goes, they probably were shooting at the neighbors there. I'm like, where do you even come up with this stuff, shooting at the neighbors? He goes, well, look at these houses. They're maybe $5,000, $10,000 houses. They're not shooting at them.
It was a previous life.
Well, then we pull in. He pulls in right before you get to the penitentiary. There's a wide open area. There's a couple people all dressed in black, one in a wheelchair. And I go, I guess they're going to the fights. Well, they couldn't get in that way. So then I go, let's go down the street. Let's go down. It's like a block and a half long. Smoking Jim's getting impatient. I pull down my window. There's a couple other kids. I go, hey, where do you get in? They go, I don't know. We tried to get in the middle. We couldn't. We're coming down here. I go, there's no entrance down there. I go, probably the other end. Finally, we get around, ask a couple guys at this entrance, hey, they have fights here. He goes, who wants to know? So, they had fights there. What a night of fights we saw, Smoking Jim. Nice crowd of people. Unbelievable. Mike Murray, Jim Frio, Tom Wilson, they put on a heck of a boxing match and MMA fights there. Who would think? They even fed us, had a good meal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the bologna sandwich.
Oh, better than that. 2 of them.
The ring announcer gives L. Levine the Taco Machine a shout out, but he's on the other side of the room with Joel, talking to Joel, so he missed the shout out.
I know. I had to thank him for a nice shout out that we came down. Mike Murray, thanks again. But it was a great night. Keontae Irving knocked his guy out in about 30 seconds.
How about the
And
Pittsburgh
then the
Bull?
Pittsburgh Bull, our man, was on our show lately, Michael Manna. Not only does he have a strong, powerful right hand, we always tell people he's looking to load up and knock you out. He knocked this kid out in the 3rd round with a left hook that knocked him off of his feet and onto the canvas. It was so powerful. I told him afterwards, I go, man, we only thought you had a right. He goes, how was that left?
Yeah.
He buried this guy, perfect hit to the jaw, took him right down.
And that Moundsville Penitentiary is known to be haunted. They had
Ghost
a reality.
Hunters
Ghost
show.
Hunters was coming in
At 10:30.
afterwards. Who was in there before Manson?
Yeah, down the street he
What was
grew
his
up.
name? Charles
Manson,
Charles
the murderer.
When I got home, I took a few ghosts. My house has been haunted. I've been trying to get the
I
ghosts
understand.
out.
It looks like
They-
you haven't
is
slept.
yours?
No, mine's fine. I gave him to you. I said, follow him home
My
to that
chan-
community next to Penn
My
Hills.
channel's been turning without me being. Lights been going off and on.
What
Maybe-
else can
maybe
you
it's
make
Mike
up?
Somebody
McCarthy.
put Christmas lights in my front.
What
door.
else can you
Maybe
make
it was
up?
Mike McCarthy.
What else? But we had a great time.
That was
They
great.
invite us to come back again when they have shows
I can't
again.
wait.
So it was just a great time.
Thanks
there.
for getting me the yellow wristband too. I wouldn't
so
have
you
been able
could
to
eat.
eat. Yeah.
I know. My man was not going to be able to eat. Best meal we had because it was free.
And then they had the execution steps, and they still had the
Trap door where they let the guy hang.
and the hanging rope was still intact.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
It was Smoking Jim tried to get up there, but he didn't make it.
I somehow find that hard to believe.
He's a little directionally challenged.
Jim's going to keep his hind end close to the ground.
But it was a fun night.
I clean out my gutters sometimes.
Lubomir, the Ukrainian demolition man, had a great fight.
Yes.
Well boxed match.
Hey,
So
you know,
a lot
and-
of great fighters.
We're getting down to the last minute here, and the Pirates are in minicamp right now. Keep your eyes out. If not this year, then next. Cabron Hayes. He is going to
Write
be
that
the
name down.
Pirates' third baseman of the future. They say that they've been hitting balls to him, and nothing has gone past him.
Wow.
Okay, and he played
That
in.
means he's fielding them, Smoking Jim.
He's playing in Altoona. So maybe we
go
take a
up.
road trip.
Yeah.
You know, we'll have to
used to
drive
watch-
through. I have to drive through Monroeville to
I
get
used
there.
to watch the Alaska 22 up there all the time. What was
did
his
you?
name? McCutcheon. I
yeah.
used to watch McCutcheon up there. Wow.
Yeah. Thanks, Smoking
Yeah.
Jim.
Jim,
Hey, we want to thank you for watching the show. Hopefully we were entertaining for you. Hopefully you learned a couple things, not necessarily from Smoking Jim, except don't bet, or bet the opposite that Smoking Jim promotes. I want to end this show with Stay Joey Strong.